Kiwi heavyweight Joseph Parker is just 27 years of age. He is going to turn 28 in January of next year, but that is still very young, isn't it, for heavyweights today? That's an age where you're still waiting for your first big shot. Look at Joseph Parker's career though. He's already had a pretty substantial one. He's had that title win over Andy Ruiz Jr., who, just through the fact that he beat AJ, it's always going to look pretty good in the rearview mirror. He had his big chance against Anthony Joshua, got paid lots of money in front of 80,000, was it, in Cardiff? And then he had another pretty big high-profile fight against Dillian Whyte, the last round knockdown, just about keeping his career alive. If Parker was suddenly bitten by some venomous snake and it derailed his career completely, I think he'd be able to look at everything and just go, you know what? I didn't do too badly, did I? I'm proud of what I did in the ring. And I think that is part of the problem here for a guy who apparently still has aspirations. I'm pretty sure Joseph Parker is quite a wealthy man. I'm not sure if he's got money in the tens of millions, but he's made a fair few million already. I just question that drive for a guy who we know is a bit of a nice guy, who has been criticised by myself as well, by sometimes not having that spite, that single-mindedness to just absolutely get the best out of himself and make it happen in there. And then there is the fact he's not going to be getting rid of Kevin Barry. This is somebody who's been coming under fire as a trainer for Parker since probably his fight against Carlos Takam back in 2016, when it was clear that there's a lot of raw materials there. He's tough, he's got quick hands, he's got pretty good movement, he's got a good feel around the ring. But there's some gaps in the defence, he goes to sleep, he needs a better trainer. He's not getting rid of him, that is it. He is there for the long run. So these evolutions we wanted to see in Parker, we want to see him not fall asleep for sustained periods in fights like he did against Dillian Whyte. We want to see a guy who intuitively knows when to box, when to fight, and doesn't have to look at his corner for reassurance. We're probably never going to get that. But the problems run deeper than those, and that is that where are the real prospects now for him in terms of fighting the top guys? Nobody is going to want to see a rematch between Joseph Parker and Anthony Joshua. It is one of the few boring fights in Anthony Joshua's career. And it was a fight that didn't reflect well on Parker either. Yes, he lasted the distance, but he really didn't get stuck in, did he? Regardless of the referee, after the first few rounds, after a bit of an attempt in the sixth round to get things into a bit of a slugfest, he was quite docile in the last six, wasn't he? And he kind of just allowed himself to be outboxed on the outside. So nobody is going to want to see. Even if he starts doing well and beating a few guys and Joshua continues, people aren't going to pay to see that again, because boxing is ultimately entertainment. Then we have Tyson Fury, his pseudo-friend. The styles match up there because Parker is more of a boxer himself. I can't see it whetting anyone's appetite. And the fact that Parker has failed to really show any KO power at the world level, I don't see people wanting to see that fight. How do you fight Parker's corner in that one, saying how's he going to beat Fury? You can't, can you? He's not going to knock him out. He's outreached. It's pretty much got decision loss written all over it, hasn't it? And then you've got the fight against Deontay Wilder, which is probably the most interesting given Deontay Wilder's defensive lapses. But surely Dillian Whyte is at the front of that queue in terms of wanting to fight Deontay Wilder, and Joseph Parker would need to get Dillian Whyte first into a rematch. And Dillian Whyte now on the comeback trail, he's weighing in these days at 270 pounds. He's not going to want another really tough potential banana skin, as Adam Smith likes to say, before getting his first real big chance himself. So that puts Joseph Parker in a very difficult position in terms of trying to fight one of the top guys again. It just seems unrealistic. We are in the situation now where, as I said in my previous video, Joseph Parker against Alexander Usyk seems like the perfect fight for both of them. Usyk needs to fight a decent, capable, tough guy who can put him under pressure, who gives him a bit of size. And Usyk for Parker represents a situation in which he's probably not going to get beaten up. And even if he were to lose, if he gives Usyk some trouble, who's seen as, some people think, a real force potentially in the heavyweight division, if he gives him some trouble, it just still gives his career that reason to stay afloat and continue. I do hope to see Parker fight again soon, and again, ideally against Usyk. He's got to try and get a big fight. But when we compare what the potential seemed to be in those early stages, 2013, 2014, when he was knocking people out, when we saw the speed, and we look at the situation now, it seems like he has already had his moment in the sun.